Patel, Jasmine Thomas, and Connor Stockwell. We will be teaching you today about the fetal growth and placenta growth in a baby. Breaking news! We've just been handed a report by Dr. G. Forbes for the human body composition. Number 1 asks us to determine whether the data is presented in the form of W of t, W of t prime, or W of t double prime, and explain why. The graph on page 103 is presented in the form of W t prime, the first derivative. We know this because the graph says for the closed circles it's the velocity of growth, and for the open circles it's the velocity of placenta growth. The graph's description, it shows the velocity of both circles, y prime. Velocity is the first derivative of the position with respect to time. Dr. G. Forbes asks us to refer to the graph on page 103 and estimate the location of points for each graph, the fetus and placenta, which is figure 1 and figure 2, and estimate the points for each set. Then we entered each set onto an Excel sheet, and this is what it looked like for us. They're both given to us in weeks, and then we multiplied the answers by 7 and got it to be in days as our units. So our x-axis is t of days, and then the y-axis is the rate of growth, grams per day of fetus and placenta.
One of the fetus. This shows that this has a polynomial degree of 1, which means the fitting here is poor because the line doesn't bend to the points. So this is figure 2 of the placenta, and this is a linear polynomial, meaning that it doesn't curve to the points, which makes it a poor fit. One of the fetus. Using a polynomial degree of 4, the line fits more accurately because the line bends closer to the points. This is figure 2 of the placenta. The fitting is better using a polynomial degree of 4 because it follows the curvature of the data points more accurately than the This is figure 3 of the fetus first. The psychological and physical interpretation is that the inflection points decline with the rate of growth go from increasing to decreasing. This is caused by many things, such as the lack of nutrition, arterial growth, and skeletal growth.
From number 4, we found the antiderivatives from those equations. Then we calculated the fetal and placental weight as a function of time. So that's how we found the equation for both of these graphs. And then you can see the progress of the fetal weight in figure 5, and notice that it hits 100 grams around 112 days, which is 16 weeks, and also here it hits 120 grams at 112 days, which is also 16 weeks.
In a different study, researchers have looked at the effects of exercise on pregnancy, and the results can be viewed on this graph here. We notice that the fetus doesn't start growing until day 70. The reason for this is because the fetus doesn't start development until around 70 days after it is conceived. We found the inflection point by calculating the second derivative of figure 7, which shows the placental volume. We can see that the inflection point occurs around day 225, and we can see this because the trajectory of the graph goes back to an upward concavity. We can't compare the data between the placental volume and the placental weight. The reason for this is because if you think about it, in the fetus, the weight may change in a different way compared to the volume. For example, a baby inside a womb might have a certain volume, but the insides of it might become more dense or less dense based on things such as bone generation or arterial degeneration. Now it's time for us to make a medical conclusion. We ask ourselves, do the placental volumes inflection points match the placental weights inflection points? The answer is no. And the reason for that is that the rate of growth for the volume has a much more upward trajectory than the growth of the weight. The reason for this is because of a rise and fall in many things. things including water, nutrients, and other factors like arterial degeneration and skeletal growth. Taking a closer look at things such as the growth of volume and weight in the placenta, we look at things such as arterial degeneration, bone growth, and nutrient levels. Starting with nutrient levels, intake of water, ash, calcium, and electrolytes can affect both the volume and weight of the fetus. Second, looking at bone growth, when the bone growth increases, so does the weight and the density of the fetus. Finally, taking a look at arterial degeneration, as the skin and bone marrow decreases within the fetus, the volume and weight will both decrease. Next, we ask ourselves, do we trust the research that was given to us? Based on the fact that it was given to us by Dr. G. Forbes, who is a doctor in New Jersey, and the research was conducted in relative times, taking place in 1987, using modern technology that's able to calculate very accurate results, we can conclude that the information given to us is very, very reliable. Finally, we ask ourselves, what possible medical reasons can we provide for the inflection points of the placental weight and placental volume occurring at different times? We look at things revolving around the body composition, things including the water levels increasing or decreasing, the level of electrolytes in the placenta, level of minerals, fat percentages within the fetus, ash and calcium levels, the size of the uterus, nutrient intake of the parent, and degeneration of arterial matter are all very big factors that play into the inflection points occurring at different times.
Thank you for watching, and good night from CJC Productions.
Dr. G. Forbes. Connor!
I'm just watching.
First, for arterial degeneration in the fetus, what is that called again?
This is figure 2 of the placenta, and the fitting here is forward because already this is
that was given to us. Taking a look at the research that was given to us by Dr. G. Forbes, we can tell
decreasing. This is caused by many things, such as the lack of nutrition, arterial growth, and nutrition. And no, wait, I said nutrition.
Of number 4, and then we. I don't want to do this number anymore.
I thought that was... Oh.
You stepped on me.